Thanks so much, Queen. Hello.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. That's good to hear. Okay, so like I said, since we didn't have much people on call, and then we've spent about 15 minutes thereabouts. So it's important to start the class now. While we hope others will join us as we progress in the class. And again, you can also help us drop a chat with your colleagues on the team on the Telegram platform to inform them the class has started already, and they should uh make out time to join. Okay. Um. Once again, thank you for taking your time to join the class. Today marks our fifth week, week 5, for the diet. Our week 5 for the diet, and then gradually you will agree with me that the diet is coming to an end gradually. So if you are just joining us for the first time, please drop an emoji in the chat and let us know where you are joining from. To subscribe to our video lectures, please contact the admin uh, on any of this phone number, 002342842, 08123189141. To access our past recorded lectures on any of the topics, please reach out to the admin. And to have access to our full video lectures on all the topics in your syllabus, please do reach out to the admin. Okay. Kindly stay focused for you to have a best learning experience. Minimize distractions. This is not the right time for you to be on social media. Put your phone on do not disturb mode. Close unnecessary apps and social media. Engage fully. This might be your only chance to grasp today's concepts. Okay, a quick recap of what was taught in the last class. So before we dive into this class, uh, can any one of you please unmute his mic in just 1 minute or so? Tell us what you learned from the last class. What are the topics that were discussed, and what exactly did you learn from the class? What did you learn from the class? Did you learn anything at all? Hello? Hello?
I was not in the last class. I was having network issues.
Okay. Then the other two person, are we also not in the class? Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Are we all not in class last week?
I was in class. I think it was last week we learned about the VAT, value added tax. We explained that the value added tax is on any consumption. So as long as you purchase any item, so you pay value added tax. And also about withholding tax. The withholding tax is you pay that's company income tax pay in advance. So I think that's what I could be able to recap now.
Okay. Thank you. In the interest of time. So last week we discussed withholding tax and value-added tax. Just to correct you, value-added tax is not on all items that you consumed. Rather, it is a tax. It is a tax levied on the consumption of goods and services. However, there are exemptions. Certain items were granted zero rated VAT, while some were exclusively excluded. Okay, some were excluded from the value from being VAT. They are non-vatable. Okay, so for instance, if you buy raw beans, I mean fresh from the farm, not the ones that have been cooked. Okay, maybe your rice, farm rice, cassava, among others. In as much that they are still in their natural form, in as much that they are still in their natural form, they are not readily consumable. Okay, they are not readily consumed. You are what you are not expected to charge VAT. Okay, they are not vatable. Okay, they are not vatable. So there are a lot. Bottled water, pure water, all of those are not vatable, except if they are being sold in a maybe a fast food restaurant, you know, among others, clubs, hotels, and the likes. Because you also agree with me that the price for which you would buy those items at the restaurant, bars, hotel, and the likes are not the same price you will get them out there. While a bottle water goes for a 200 naira out there, in the restaurants, in a bar, in a hotel, among others, they will likely not, you know, be sold for less than a 500 naira. Meaning, if you are going to buy it there, the least they can charge you is maybe 500 or 400. Okay, so why? Has anything changed from the content of the bottled water? Is it not the same Aquafina water? Is it not the same Seaway? Is it not the same Nestle water? You know, among others, just to mention. Okay, so the what then has changed? What then made them charge higher and above what you would have got it, what you would have got it in the markets? Okay, so what has changed is they have added value, the kind of environment. For instance, if you go to a restaurant to get that, they have security who work like I don't want to call them receptionists, but they appear first. They help you open the door, the slide. They open the slide for you to come in, and when you're also going out, they open for you. So they treat you as a VIP. Okay, so that treat doesn't come for free. Okay, so you see people waitress approaching you. What do you want, sir? What do you want, ma? Unlike the markets where the seller just sit down and you be the one to approach them to say, I need this, I need that. So they approach you and say, oh, what do you want? So you are under AC, air condition, and then some other things. It's for an environment, among others. So all of this come with a cost, and the cost of doing that is what they charge in addition to the cost of the bottled water itself to sell it at 500, 1,000 naira or a 2,000 naira. The same bottled water you would have gotten as 200 naira out there. So that value being added by them is we then make it what a valuable item. While if you purchase over the counter or you purchase directly from the market, it may not be taxable. But because it has been not necessarily that it has been transformed, but the seller has charged you more than someone else would have gotten it. Okay, so and which is the reason why when you get this bottled water and it's like from a restaurant, hotel, among others, you will be charged more. You'll be charged value added tax. So another thing we talk about is the withholding tax. Okay, I made mention that withholding tax is not a separate type of tax on its own. Rather, it is an advanced payment of income tax. And for income tax, we have two categories of income tax. We have the company's income tax, which is tax being imposed on corporate bodies. Corporate bodies, I mean limited liability company or public limited liability company or public company unlimited or private company unlimited. Unlike a sole proprietorship business, just a business name, partnership business that are not limited liability partnership, just a normal business enterprise. Okay, so those ones have been taxed under the provision of the Personal Income Tax Act and not companies income tax. So companies income tax has to do with the corporate organizations, limited liability company, public listed companies, among others. Are we together? Okay, so this withholding tax, like I said, is just an advance payment of both personal income tax and companies income tax. Personal income tax and then companies income tax. So again, it is important for you to know who administers each of these tax. Who administers value tax, who collects, administrates, and then reports to the government the value tax being collected. Okay, so and for withholding tax as well, you also need to know who is responsible for the collection and accounting of the withholding tax, who collects, who manages, who administers, who assesses withholding tax on taxpayer. Is it the Federal Inland Revenue Service acting on behalf of the federal government that do or does collect uh, uh, withholding tax from all taxpayers, or it is between the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the State Internal Revenue Service? Okay, so State Internal Revenue Service, do collect from individuals who are not, all individuals except for personnel of the Nigerian forces, the Nigerian police force, the Nigerian ambassador, not in other countries and the like. So it is the Federal Inland Revenue Service that collects and administer their taxes, collect, assess, and administer taxes of this set of individuals. Other than these sets of individuals, all other individuals are being managed or assessed to tax under the provisions of the Personal Income Tax Act. Okay. Sorry. All individuals, irrespective of their status, are being assessed to tax under the Personal Income Tax Act. But the responsible agency will be the State Internal Revenue Service. State Internal Revenue Service. Okay. So while the personnel of the Nigerian forces, Nigerian police force, ambassadors, diplomats, among others, are being assessed to tax under PIT, but the tax is being collected and administered by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. I hope this is clear. So before now, the resident of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, used to be under the Federal Inland Revenue Service, but since the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service in 2015, with its operation commencing 2017, all individuals residing or residents in the within the Federal Capital Territory are now being administered by the Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service, FCT IRS, Abuja. Okay, so if this is clear, again, just to remind you to have a full understanding, a better understanding of the topics being discussed, Please subscribe to our video lectures where you can have access to all the videos and listen to our video lectures at your leisure time. To reach out to the admin, please call or chat 00234 28420 0812 318 9141. So today's topics, we have stamp duties, customs and excise duties, and luxury tax. Stamp duties, customs and excise duties, and luxury tax. Are we together? Hello, are we together?
Yes, we are here.
Okay. So can someone tell us one or two things? Candy, you have your hands up.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question before, but you have cleared it.
Okay. So can anyone talk us through what they understand, what the understanding is on any of these topics being presented: stamp duties, customs and excise duties, and luxury tax? And which of these are you more interested, you know, uh, to be taught in this class? Oh yeah, let's start. Hello, hello, yeah, let's talk.
Hello, let me
Or
just
are you just
have a,
seeing these topics for the first time? You've never heard of
so
stamp duty before, luxury tax, customs and excise duties.
the stamp duties the tax pay maybe in court for the stamp placed on documents or in law courts, while the SI duty and custom duties are the tax charged on locally made goods. I think that's what I can say for now.
Okay, someone else who else wants to try?
Uh, Stamp duty is paid on goods that I think they're on services. For example, maybe bank, you make some expenses for like not individual accounts, maybe corporate accounts, you pay stamp duty. Then custom and exercise duty has to goods that are coming into the country and goods that are locally produced. The taxes, while luxury tax has to do with the tax for expensive products or goods with high taste or goods expensive by the rich people or the rich class.
Okay, another person.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma.
Stamp duty are tax paid on written and electronic instruments or documents. Custom duty are charged level on goods when they cross international borders.
Hmm, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, so as said, stamp duties stamp duties are levied on. So there's something we call instruments. Okay, so they are not just levied on documents to say maybe just anyhow documents, but on dutable instruments. On dutable instruments, dutable as in duty, DUTIABLE, dutable instruments. And there is this enabling act. The enabling act that allows for the application of stamp duty or implementation of stamp duty is the Stamp Duties Act, CAP, Section 8, Law of Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, as amended. 2004, as amended. So, these instruments includes electronic documents, electronic stamping, electronic denoting agreements, contracts, receipts, appraisal, including electronic transfer. So that's what someone said earlier. Like you carry out some transactions on your current accounts in bank, they charge you stamp duty. Okay. Yeah, because there is an electronic transfer. There are transactions between Mr. A, Mr. B, various parties. So this electronic transfer is also subject to stamp duty. So if you receive bank charges, and apart from the management fee, interest, what else do they use to charge people? VAT. So even your VAT itself it's not the bank that earns it. They are still going to remit it to the government. Okay. So the VAT they have charged you is on their own maintenance fee. They charge you for the month. Okay. So the stamp duty they charge you, okay, we also go to them. Okay, so I think now on every transfer of is it 10,000 and above, you pay stamp duty of I think they slashed it sometimes, maybe 26 point something naira. And for every 50,000 and above, you pay 50. So plus VAT thereabouts, you pay 52.5 naira, 52 naira, 5 I guess. So that's what they will charge you. They will charge you 50 naira on it, then plus VAT. So this money does not go, it's not bank's money. Okay, they are only being collected on behalf of the customer they have transacted to, on behalf of the federal government in most cases. So we also have other documents such as memorandum of understanding, promissory notes, legal mortgage, maybe memorandum of understanding relating to sale of land, joint venture, subdivision agreements. All these oaths, you want to sworn affidavit affirmation, statutory declaration, written agreements between one or two parties, or between two or more parties rather, ordinary or open agreement underhand articles. There are a whole lot. Okay, I think you guys have an assignment on that to go, list out the dutable instruments for which stamp duty may be charged, for which stamp duties may be charged or is chargeable. Okay, so that's that on stamp duty. I believe we all now know what stamp duty is. For the purpose of this class, I'm repeating this again. Stamp duty is chargeable or is assessed on both physical and electronic instruments. Stamp duty is a tax or is a duty that is being charged or assessed on both physical and electronic instruments. And there are various ways, or sorry, let me say there are just two ways. There are two ways in which value-added tax in which stamp duty may be assessed or charged on these debtable instruments. One of which is the ad valorem. So ad valorem in your accounting sounds more of uh, what's it called? More of a value, a variable cost, you can say. Sounds more of a variable cost. Why we have fixed, or you call it flat rate. So the flat rate sounds like your fixed cost. So for the ad valorem, which is like a variable cost, it is uh any duty set to be ad valorem is payable as a percentage of the consideration on an instrument. So for instance, you purchase a land for, let's say, 10 million naira. So if the stamp duty rate on the sale of land agreement for a sale of land, for instance, is, let's say, is 0.75%. So what that means is that you multiply the rate by 0.75%. In this case, you may be having something around 75,000 naira. Something around 75,000 naira. These rates remain constant at the unit level. Meanwhile, it varies in total. How do I mean? The same 0.75% you've used, or you may use for someone with a consideration of maybe 1 million, is the same rate you are going to use on someone with 10 billion naira. Okay, so and that's why it is called ad valorem. Okay, it's like a variable unit, a variable cost. Okay, that remain fixed at unit level, but varies in total. Varies in total. The same thing with the flat rate. The flat rate is fixed. Okay, is fixed and it doesn't move except it has been reviewed. Okay, so what this means is that if you have a debtable instrument with a consideration of about 10 million naira, yes, you'll be paying, let's say, maybe 5,000 naira. And we have this different set, another set of people that enters into the same transaction or similar with a consideration of about 100 billion naira. With a consideration of about 100 billion naira. So the fact that it is a fixed or a flat rate, you are still going to pay 5,000 naira. So it's just like saying everybody pays 5,000 naira irrespective of your income level. Irrespective of your income level. So what this means is that it is not by the size, but it's just by what you've been asked to pay. Are we together? So flat rate is where a fee sum is chargeable irrespective of the consideration on debtable instruments or documents. So if we go to the table of contents, there are a lot to discuss under this topic. So it is important for you to, read your study test on these topics, watch our video lectures on these topics, because they form an integral part of your exam. Okay, if you're a good researcher, you can just pick up your pathfinder questions and find out to know if any of these three topics has ever been tested, in the past 3 years, in the past 4 years. Okay, and you come back to me to say, yeah, I saw that in this pathfinder questions this year and that year. Okay, so do not joke about them. You have to know them. They are important because they're also part of your Nigerian tax system. They forms part of the Nigerian tax system. So to demonstrate this professional judgment and make informed decisions at a level is very important. So it's not just by you cramming what we have in this specific paragraph of the Nigerian tax law. But what we need from you is the application. You're understanding what is required of you, okay? Having an understanding of what is required of you and then doing it at the right time, doing it at the same time. So to get the most from this lesson, make sure you have watched the video lecture beforehand. If you are just joining us for the first time, please reach out to the admin for your video lecture on any of these numbers. On any of these numbers. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we've touched about stamp duties, and then I've spoken about the definition, its instruments. I've mentioned some of the instruments, and then receipts liable to stamp duty. Instrument and receipts liable to stamp duty. I would have loved to take some definition of terms. Okay, to take some definition of terms, but for the purpose of time, we may not be able to do that. So, like I said earlier, electronic transfer, okay, depending on the amount, is also a stamp duty instrument. It's also a stamp duty instrument. All written or printed debitable instruments or receipts. Okay, so whether it is printed, you have it as a physical copy, or you have the soft copy. Okay, this can still also be stamped. It can still also be stamped. Are we together? So all printed receipts, including POS receipts, physicalized device receipts, automated teller machine, printout, among others, are referred to as what? Are referred to as debitable instruments and receipts, or you call them instruments and receipts liable to tax. I've spoken about the relevant tax authorities, the types and forms of stamp duties. I've also been spoken about, where I mentioned the fixed duties and ad valorem. Then we have administration of stamp duties, the authority, one who is expected to charge stamp duties. So by virtue of Section 4 of the Stamp Duties Act, the Federal Inland Revenue Service is the competent authority to charge and collect duties upon instruments relating to transactions or matters executed between corporate bodies, or executed between a corporate body and an individual. So the fact that it has involved a corporate body therefore makes it to be collected or assessed by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. So the relevant state authority, on the other side of it, is responsible for the collection of duties in respect of instruments executed between individuals at such rates to be imposed or charged in agreement with the federal federal government. So we have a whole lot under the stamp duties. You can also do well to read on them. So let's move to customs and excise duties. Customs and excise duties. So, on customs and excise duties, what are you expected to know? What are you expected to know? So, as you can see from the screen, you're expected to know the nature, objectives, and administration of customs and excise duties, exercisable items, and then prohibited or restricted items. Prohibited or restricted items. So the customs and duties, like we all know, I don't want to believe that anyone here has never heard of customs before. So the Nigerian Customs Service, or do you have anyone that is hearing Nigerian Customs Service for the first time? Hello, feel free to talk. Okay, so it's good to assume that we've all had or knew about the Nigerian Customs Service before this class. So the Nigerian Customs Service is one of the major revenue generating agencies for the federal government, and the instrument that regulates the Nigerian Customs Service has not undergone a major overhaul for years. So recently the Buhari administration, the Senate, passed a bill to establish the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act. To establish the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act. Sorry. Okay, so the how do I put it? The enabling act for the collection of customs and excise duties can be found under the Nigerian Customs Service Board Act, Cap 45, Law of Federal Government, Law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the board, has a minister of finance who is the supposed chairman of the Nigerian Custom Board and Nigerian Custom Service Board. Then the Comptroller General of Customs is the deputy chairman. Then it also has all major, all the deputy controllers general, then all the deputy controllers general. Then we have the representative, one person each, from the Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Commerce, Federal Ministry of Industry, and then the Federal Ministry of on Transportation, Federal Ministry of Transportation. So you can read more on the composition of the board of the Nigerian Customs Service Board. So what are the functions of this board? You can read more on them. The powers of the board, you can read more on them. The offenses and penalties, the rates and basis of computation. Okay, so there are different items for which customs and excise duties are being charged. Like Blessing said earlier, when there is a cross-border transaction, it is expected, okay, that all these taxes will come up because For instance, we have value-added tax. For instance, you cannot clear your goods at the port if you have not paid the value-added tax associated with it. Okay, so you pay what you pay your value-added tax. And now for on these customs and excise duties, except for those items that are exempted, that are excluded from uh from that are excluded from the list, so to say, that are excluded from the list. So the rates, unlike all other type of taxes that are probably just a flat rate, or maybe we just have a tax table from the lowest earner to the highest salary earner, or from the lowest income earner to the highest income earner. So the rates varies from 5% to 75% of import value at each port of entry. Either you come through the airport through plane, or you go through uh, so it depends. It could be 5%, it could be 10%, it could be 15%, 70%, 75%. So depending on the item. So the bone of contention here is, where are you bringing them through into Nigeria? So are you using the sea? Are you using the airports? Are you using the land border or inland waterway, among others? So it has its own basis of computation. Uh, you can get at, maybe you can pick your study test, the study test that has been phased out, and pending the publication of the new syllabus by Ican. So you still make a reference to the one we have before. So uh, that's that's also on what's it called, on custom and excise duty. So exercisable items, right? Goods liable to excise duty are specifically provided for in Part 3, Section 21 of the Customs Excise Tariff Consolidation Act. Customs Excise Tariff Consolidated Act. So these include goods imported and those manufactured in Nigeria, because one may say, why are we charging excess duty on locally made goods? Okay, so there are some manufacturing companies that are expected to pay excise duty. So for instance, if a manufacturing company and produces wine in Nigeria, or all these other this thing in Nigeria, you will still be assessed to excise duty. So Nigerian breweries pays excise duty, Guinness pays excise duties. All these big companies, depending on what you are manufacturing, pays excise duties on their products. So Nigeria and specified, I mean the goods imported in Nigeria are specified in the fifth schedule, So like I said, these goods may be locally purchased or produced. Uh, uh, sorry. So these items are most, the excise and duties are assessed or levied on manufacturing entity in the country, except for those who are into items that are excluded from the list. Um, okay, so let's stop there. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Okay, so if there's no question, Thank you for taking your time to join the class today. And then don't forget to access our members area on Telegram to have access to this video lecture, to have access to your assignments as well. Okay, so when you are done, you can submit your assignment using this link. If you don't have access to our video lectures yet, please WhatsApp the admin or call on this line +234 802 342 8420 or +2348 1231 89141. Many thanks once again for taking your time to join us in class today. If you missed our last week class or you are just joining us for the first time, kindly access the past sessions video on this link. To have access to this material, please chat the admin to add you to the members area. If you are doing financial reporting, please join me in the next class. And I wish every other person a wonderful weekend.